And welcome into a special edition Blue Streaks halftime show interview. And joining us tonight at halftime of this contest against Mount Union is the starting point guard for your John Carroll Blue Streaks, Luke Chicone. Luke, thanks for taking the time.
Oh, no, thank you for having me.
For sure. And just getting started a bit earlier on, I was able to sit down with Coach Moran a bit earlier this season, and he mentioned there were a lot of homegrown tomatoes who transferred in.
Yeah.
You're a part of a group of 8 transfers to John Carroll this year. You yourself are from Menor. You played at Menor, had a fantastic high school career. You were named a Mr. Basketball finalist your senior year, and you also got to play under legendary head coach Bob Krasancic. How did this experience prepare you for the collegiate level?
Playing for Coach K, he's been around the game for a long time. He knows the game of basketball really well, and I think that's an understatement. And, he kind of taught me my freshman year the right way to play, and I feel like the tendencies he's built into me, I've been playing with them since.
So that high school experience starting to carry over here to the collegiate level. And speaking of your experience playing college basketball, you played at Youngstown State last season. That's where you originally committed to play basketball. But you're now here at John Carroll. Mm-hmm. Why did you ultimately decide to make the move to JCU?
Yeah, so, growing up, I fulfilled my lifelong dream of playing Division I basketball. But then, as time went by, it wasn't really the D1 or D2 or D3 thing for me. It was kind of just where I wanted to be, the happiest and find the right fit. And, I think I ultimately found it here.
Yeah, and so you talk about finding, that ultimate place you wanted to play. I think it kind of helps, too. I was able to speak with Luke Frazier, your teammate earlier this season, and there's a lot of relationships with a few of the players on your team, playing with a lot of your teammates right now, early on, AAU level as well. What does it mean that you're able to play with a lot of players you already know, and how has that chemistry been so far?
Oh, it means a lot. The preseason polls were kind of, they didn't rank us at all because, you got all these new guys and they're thinking we got to mesh them together. But, we've been meshed together since the start. I've played with a lot of these guys growing up, like you said, and then against a lot of them, like we talked about before.
And you're kind of mentioning the polls a little bit in terms of John Carroll standing this season through 6 games. The team's currently 6-0. And you are ranked in the top 10 of the D3Hoops.com poll for the first time since 2016. How can the team keep this momentum going?
We're just taking it one day at a time, one practice at a time. We're not going to take anybody lightly.
And through 6 games, just talking a bit about more you yourself, you currently lead the OAC, averaging 5 assists per game, and you lead the Blue Streaks in scoring, averaging nearly 13 points per game. What's been working well for you so far this season?
Like we talked about, just meshing these guys together was, the first thing from the start. And I think now that we kind of got the ball rolling on that, just kind of finding my role, when to make the right plays, how to make the right plays. I think it's all starting to come together, and it came together at a rapid pace, as you said, 6 games in.
6 games into what is set to be, hopefully, a very long season for the Blue Streaks of John Carroll. Once again, in for our special edition halftime interview, Luke Chicone is our guest. So we talked a little bit about on the basketball court. Going to venture a little bit off the hardwood here. So you do have quite a few family ties here to John Carroll.
Yeah.
Head coach Pete Moran is your uncle, as well as assistants Pat Moran and Matt Moran. And your grandfather, Mike Moran, the legendary coach of John Carroll, the namesake of John Carroll's court. And your mom, Bridget, class of 96, also played women's basketball at JCU. What does it mean to you to carry on the family legacy for the Blue and Gold?
It means a lot. That was one of the, the biggest parts of the decision when I entered the transfer portal, leaving Youngstown State. And just having all these family ties and the connections just made the decision that much easier.
And you are currently a sophomore, and you are pursuing a degree in communication. Do you have any plans in mind at the moment after college?
I kind of want to stick around the game of basketball for sure. And then on top of that, hopefully taking my communications degree somewhere. But, I'm just kind of going day by day with it right now.
And, only a sophomore, believe me, there's still a whole lot of time for you to really figure out exactly what you're looking to get into. And hopefully you have plenty of positive experiences here at John Carroll. And so kind of talked about, family ties, academic degree standing where you're at right now. But what do you enjoy doing when you're not on the basketball court?
Just being around people, to be honest. I'm a very social person, very talkative person. So, I guess you could just say being around friends, family members, whatever it may be, whatever we're doing. It's an enjoyable experience for me.
Well, you talk about being talkative and social. Sounds like the radio interview might be a perfect fit, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. So, do want to thank you once again for taking the time to be here with us. We are going to venture into our final segment of this special edition interview. I call it Fast Favorites. So it's just a couple quick categories. You get to, mention what your favorite is in each.
Okay.
Just so Blue Streak Nation gets to know their starting point guard a bit better.
Okay, sounds good.
Awesome.
Let's do it.
All right. First up, what is your favorite food?
Favorite food? I'll say wings.
Favorite show?
We'll go Criminal Minds.
Favorite movie?
Of all time? Might be a little childish, but I'll say Transformers.
Favorite music artist?
Rod Wave, for sure.
Is that also on the pregame hype list?
No, but we definitely got to get on there now that you say that. We definitely do.
I know Luke Frazier, that is, he mentioned Connor O'Toole kind of likes to take over sometimes. Maybe that country music?
Way too much of the country. Way too much of it.
Got it. So it sounds like a little more like the rap hip-hop side for
yourself.
Sure. Got it. And finally, your favorite all-time basketball player?
Favorite all-time? Growing up, I watched a lot of Pete Maravich highlights, but I'd say nowadays it's probably John Morant.
You know what? Our generation don't really hear a lot of Pete Maravich every day. Pistol Pete, legend himself, and John Morant doing a lot of great things with the Memphis Grizzlies right now, and certainly two great players to emulate in your game. So, Luke, that's just about all the time we have. Do want to thank you once again, and best of luck the rest of the season.
Thank you for having me.
For sure. That was John Carroll Blue Streak starting point guard Luke Chicone for a special edition halftime interview. And coming up, the rest of our Blue Streaks halftime coverage right here on your home for the Blue Streaks, WJCU 88.7.